Alright, welcome to Crimson Guitars Great Guitar Build-Off 21, Bill's Law Edition. Let's start off by defining what Bill's Law is. Bill's Law specifically states that anything that Murphy may have forgot, omitted, or plain didn't know in the first place can happen and will happen to Bill. I am Bill. So, that said, this build has evolved like several times already. I started out wanting to do a Firebird kit, and I wanted to change up the neck to a Charvel Jackson style neck instead of the standard Firebird down and to the right hockey stick neck. So I ordered the neck, and by the time I saved up the money to get the body, they were not available. So, on to number 2 choice. We picked up a Paul Reed Smith. Since the neck was maple, I figured a mahogany body with a maple top to go along with the maple on maple neck. That would work out pretty good. We can do some staining and dyeing and play around with some things that Ben had taught me. So, well, we got the body, and unboxing it looked gorgeous. It was absolutely phenomenal. And when I mated the two together to see how that worked, I realized that me, my own fault, I had gotten a bolt-on neck and a set neck body. Bill's Law strikes again. So, anyway, as Ben says, luthiers need to learn to adapt and overcome the little happenings and mistakes and all that stuff to be a good luthier. So I figured, okay, well, we got what we got. Let's roll with it. So we started doing the neck. I did the first video I put out was doing the fret leveling and all that stuff. Got that all done. I think that turned out pretty phenomenal for my first time. But onward and upward, we moved on. I carved a truss rod cover and played around with that. Once I did that, time to move on to the body. So naturally you check out the body and start with your sanding and fitting and all that stuff. And I did my first light sand on there, and I found out that the body had several issues. It wasn't as grand and pretty as I thought it was. The two halves where the maple was joined together had a nice little gap at the end. So that was strike number 1. As I sanded, I looked at it, I noticed that the two halves mated were also skewed. They were not straight down the center of the body. So that could potentially throw some things off. Upon further messing around, I figured, okay, we can adapt, we can conquer, we can come up with something to fill that gap and still do what I want. So I produced a second video showing the specifics about that. There's also a bunch of tool marks, and those I managed to sand out, so that was a good thing. And my friend Tom came over and was looking at what we're doing here, and he noticed that where the neck pocket was hollowed out, the mahogany was bored routed straight, but the maple had a nice little hook to it, and it basically created a V. So when you put the neck in there, there was this nice little gap. So, that said, I shot off an email to the manufacturers, Yinfente, and they got back to me really quick, so I was surprised at that. And I had linked them to the video I did showing all the issues with the body, and got the excuse that they couldn't see the YouTube video. So okay, they're in China, I get it, there's things that are blocked, alright, so no big deal. So I throw that same video up on my Google Drive and get back to them and link them to the Google Drive, and lo and behold, I still have yet to hear from them, and this is like a month ago now. So that tells me what kind of business people they are. So if you're looking for kit bodies, just be aware that these guys have a quality control issue. Their wood is absolutely gorgeous. So, you know, my opinion is they need to pass that wood on to somebody who's going to treat it right, and that, or get their quality control issues under control. So, moving on, I wanted to do lace pickups. I wanted to try their death buckers and a lace alumitone in the neck pickup. So I shot off an email to Lace as far as what they recommended for what I'm building, and their tech guy got back to me really quick, and he told me that I should go with the death bucker and the alumitone, because originally I wanted to go with alumitones on both, and he said for the metal and stuff that I'm building a guitar for, it should be a death bucker and an alumitone. And he suggested if I wanted to possibly get sponsored for the build, to email the salesperson, and he gave me an email to this lady. So I shot off a very nice letter to her explaining what was going on, and that it's for the great guitar build off, and lo and behold, no response back. So again, business practices, if you guys can't even email a response, you know, be it no, or you know, go away, don't bother us, or we don't do that, you know, something. You don't just leave people hanging. You know, that's how I was raised. You know, you answer a question, good or bad or otherwise. So next decision was what to do next. Well, my favorite band is Judas Priest, and I saw a set of EMG Glenn Tipton Vengeance pickups, had this beautiful red covers on them, and I've always used EMG. The first thing I do with a guitar when I get it is the main pickup comes out, the bridge pickup comes out, and the EMG 81 goes in it. To me, there is no substitute. You know, I've tried other pickups, the Marzios and other brands, some off names. I even had a humbucker out of a '68 Les Paul that somebody had given me. It still, it doesn't do what I want it to do. I can't manage it to get what I want out of it. So anyway, saved up the money and I went to order it, and lo and behold, guess what? No Vengeance pickups available. There was one set, but it was it's almost like somebody read my mind. There's a crackhead reseller. They were going for like $200, and he's trying to sell them for like 330 something. Or yeah, not gonna happen. So what I ended up with is a set of the Zakk Wylde EMG 81s and 85s with their plug-in wiring kit with the pots and the wires and all that stuff. So that's going to go in there. And from there we're going to go to the actual build. I got some stains on the way, and I'm going to play around with those. I saw Ben's how he used the stunning stains and manipulated black and then the red over top of it, and then with the amber, and faded that in. So what I'm thinking about is a dark, well, let me go change camera settings and I'll show you what's on the bench here and what's going on, where it's at, and I'll explain further where I want to go with this. Okay, we're going to move on. I'm going to show you what I got going on here. The neck and PRS is obviously set up for 25.5-inch scale length, which is where it's set. Marked it out, and from what I've learned, you want to go probably like 25 3/4 to center your bridge, so you get your intonation range correct with your bridge. So that's sitting where that should be, and the EMGs are sitting in there nice and pretty. One of the things I got going or on the way is some abalone pickguard material, and I'm going to cut that out and put it in the base of this hole, and then I've got some abalone binding that's going to go around the edges, so that will clear up that nasty mess there. I had trouble finding knobs that would be big enough to do that, so we're going to go with like a bluish green gray type abalone backing, and I'm going to make the pickup covers to match. So those will also be abalone. Like I said, I got the EMG 85 and the 81 Zach Wild series in here. Going to have 2 volumes and 1 tone. That way we can do blending for the little bit of stuff that I do acoustically, or clean channel basically, for ballads and type stuff like that. What I want to do is I want to go kind of, not quite a tobacco burst, but I want to go with like maybe a smoke gray, and then go into the red and into the amber mix that Ben did into it, blend into it. I think that will go along pretty good with the abalone I ordered for filling in this stuff. And also, as we can see here, one of the things I was telling you about the body, where the center line is off, and also you can see the split here. What they did at the factory, and they've done this from what I read with the complaints about them and YouTube reviews, which I should have watched before I even thought about buying this stuff. This is common for them to have that center line offset wrong, as well as having that joint just look like total crap. There's a bunch of tool marks where they routed out here. There's tool marks in this. I even had to open this up a little bit more on all of these to get them round, because there was a few nicks in here. There's issues up in here, and on the back, I'm not going to flip it over because everything's going to fall over, but where the access cover in the back was, there was a huge chunk gouged out into the flat surface where the cover would match up, but it had gotten into the body itself a little ways, so I had to file that back and open that cavity up just a little bit to kind of get that line to where it made that gouge disappear. And yeah, not happy, especially since they still haven't gotten back to me. Alright, now on to the neck work here. I'm going to just move the camera in a little bit here, and this is what I got going on for making the bolt-on neck into a set neck. Spent over 4 hours carving that bad boy with only a Dremel tool and chisels. I had like very limited tools here, and as we can see, that where that angle's in here, like that V in there. But that's what I've got carved so far. So it's going to come down along the body there. Let me take this EMG out here. You can see right there where that gouge was, and it looks like they tried to fill it with dust and super glue because you got a shiny part there. But I spent a while filing all that out. Sanded and sanded and sanded. There's some tool marks on the back of this as well. Not as bad as on the front, but there was still stuff that needed to be really sanded well. And the wood quality, I mean, it looks awesome. I mean, it's solid. It's rock hard. So it's not like it's secondhand wood that they use. It's just their craftsmanship ain't the best. So that fits in there, and then that will mate to that, get glued. What I'm probably going to do is I'm going to put the 2 back screws in here in case this doesn't work. I can still use this neck as a bolt-on, so I'm going to get a plate for it off one of my other guitars and drill the holes for it to be a bolt-on in case I need to use it somewhere else. But started with this when I got the neck. This flat part was all the way out to here, so I carved that with the chisel to get started. You know, getting back into the woodworking stuff that my grandfather had taught me years and years ago. So I started there, got me pretty close to where I wanted to be, and then I moved on to the fretwork, and for Ben's instruction on how to do it, sat there. Oh yay, dark fingers. What I end up using, I don't have a fret file. So basically I took a wooden dowel, hardened the wood, the balsa with super glue, and then sanded it flat on a piece of glass, and then spray glued some 600 grit on there, and did the fretwork. That's all in another video. I'll edit that later to show how it was done and what that process looked like. And the bridge came in for it, and the tuning keys. I've always used Grover Rotomatics on anything I've built or owned, so that's what these are. The only difference with these is these are the locking version of them. I've never tried them. I didn't even realize these were locking versions when I bought them. I thought they were just a straight mini Rotomatics. But this is the truss rod cover that I carved, played around with, and I think that turned out okay. But that's going to be sitting on top of this, which is going to be smoke gray to a darker black. I'm going to do it in stages and compare to see where I want to be, so that the darkness will contrast well with the chrome, as well as the red here. And then the logo, it's a pretty lame logo, but hey, I'm not the artist, the artistic type. But I'm going to fill that in with gold, or maybe a darker red that's in there, and that's where we are. Fretwork. Not sure how good the lighting is going to be, but for an adapted tool and my first attempt at doing it, I think that turned out pretty well. So that concludes the tour for the Bill's Law edition of the Great Guitar Build-Off first video. And as parts come in and progress gets made, I will update with another video. I think the next thing to come in is a stain kit, and we'll start playing around with that. And then the abalone covers, or the pickguard sheet, is a couple weeks out, so that's going to be a while before we can do any of that. So what I may do is get the neck angle sanded. I'm not too far off now. I don't know if you can see it on the camera. There's slight drop here. Needs to go a little bit more. I've got it so when that's sitting in there and the neck's on there clamped in, it's at, I think it's 12 millimeters back here. I want to get that up to like 14 or 16, and then I'll be happy with the break angle. But all in all, for a kit build, it's pretty darn close to scratch build with all the repair work and changes I've had to make. Maybe I should see if Ben will let me enter in both the scratch build and the kit build. But for now, I officially registered yesterday and am in the kit build. So good luck to everybody, and I hope you guys have better luck than the Bill's Law edition is having so far.